Hello, my name is Trinmai, and I am applying for the project Pollination Project grant, and wanted to talk a little bit more about my project and to see if our missions align. And thank you for this opportunity to include a video because it's so difficult to try to condense the ideas and the heart um, into words. I do get a bit wordy, so this is great. My project is called That We Should Be Heirs, and I've been thinking a lot about fear and in this climate, and just kind of being a witness and a participant in the world, and um, seeing how much fear has been thrust upon us, fear for ourselves, fear for our future, fear for others. And I wanted to um, help create a space where um, our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, and fellow humans can really ruminate on this fear and address this fear, and in hopes that we could overcome this fear together. And that's the thing about this community work, is really bringing people together. I mean, art does that. Art brings people together, but just being in a setting together and um, acknowledging these emotions and facing them together. There's a real power in that. So that's what my project is about. There are so many different layers to this project because as I develop it, there's more that gets revealed to me, and I think that's the beauty in art, right? As we inform it, it also informs us as well. And there's this conversation that happens, and these lessons that are learned, and there's things that are revealed to us, which gives art its invaluable uh, its value. So the main part of my work of this project is to ask participants to write letters to themselves. Do you hear those mallards? um, uh, the main part of this project is to invite community members to write letters either to themselves, to fear itself, and just to kind of reflect on the things that might be holding us back. I've been really thinking about fear as not just a way to motivate us to press forward and to push towards those things that we hope could be, but also fear, um, the way in which fear could cripple us, which is, I feel like, one of the major lies that the world tries to tell us, is that we will be crippled by this thing and these circumstances, which kind of circles back to the the intention behind the title, that we should be heirs. We are heirs to this strength. I am a second generation Vietnamese American, and I come from a lineage of people who fought for freedom. And I think about the love that runs so deeply that my grandparents risked their lives knowing that death was definitely an option when they escaped the war in Vietnam. And they risked their lives knowing, believing that it was worth it to give their future generations, my generation, their children, a chance to survive and to choose. And that kind of love runs really deeply. That's the kind of love I want. And this project, I feel like, has the potential to do that, to um, encourage others to document their fears and their hopes, um, and their strengths in handwriting. I feel like in the handwriting is an important part of the project because they are the markings of those who will be participating, and by rolling them in little scrolls. Oh, I'm so excited about this project. Um, these are the little scrolls. So, when I first started thinking about this project, I invited some to typewrite. I inherited a typewriter from my auntie and invited them to use it. So, some are typewritten, some are handwritten. And they're written, so the handwriting is so important as to document the marks of the people who are involved. And and I envision hundreds of these, this is just like a few of them. I have enough for about 50 now. They take quite a while to wrap because I've made these intricate little knots, like those little friendship bracelets I used to make when I was a kid. But there's a significance to the scrolls too, in just thinking about how scrolls are they hold sacred texts. So some of the most ancient writings have been bound in scrolls. And then the red thread that I use in a lot of my work represents the lifeline. So our blood, our lifeline. So that's a major part of it too. And so I imagine that for the project, writers will be I'm hoping they'll use either charcoal or graphite. And the idea is to have this physical exchange. So as people handle these, they will be, when we handle these, they will be lifting off the particles of the graphite and the charcoal, and at the same time we'll be leaving our oils upon them as well. So it's that exchange and thinking of that as compassion. So when we share our stories, we leave part of us with the other person, and when they're able to connect with that, there is an exchange there, an emotional exchange there, but I also wanted to include this physical exchange. I think that's really important too. Yeah, so there's this. Also, another facet to this, another aspect that really inspired this idea is that so my husband's father was imprisoned in the re-education camp during the war. He was a high-ranking official in the South Vietnamese army and was imprisoned for several years in a re-education camp. That's just another name for it. Internment camps, labor camps. There's a lot of different names for it. But he was pretty much tortured, and along with his countrymen. And one of the things that we inherited was this little scroll. It's about this size, and it's knotted with these very intricate little knots. And he was very deeply rooted in the Buddhist tradition. And when he was imprisoned, his master had actually sent him this little scroll with writing on it, and it was a blessing or a prayer. We really don't know what the words are in it, but it's obviously kept hidden. It was rolled actually with the words on the inside and bound, and he was told to put it in his mouth, and that this would give him favor with the people who were with the guards or with the officials that were at the prison. And so he put it in his mouth, and he would speak to them, which is amazing because we have it, and his DNA is actually on the scroll, and we've been able to preserve it. But he was, after several years, he was released, and he was actually released the day before his execution. And so that simmered for a very long time. I heard that story in 2001. We've had that little scroll since 2001, and it's 2018, and it's finally um, it's finally coming into fruition, like a part of it. So there's a lot of layers. I'm sorry if this video is lasting so long. With the letter writing, another aspect of it was is these letters that I've inherited from my grandmother. These are written. She was throwing these away because they were very personal, and it was like family. She said that they were family issues that were explained and described in these letters, and she was tearing them up and throwing them away, and I just couldn't let her do it, and so I gathered them from the trash, and she said, T, these are private, and I promised her that I would not read them if she would let me keep them, and so I've had them for a few years now. She passed away in 2014, so it's been about 5 years I've had these, and I have not known what to do with them, but I want to include them in this work because this is history, and also letters that express pain and secrets. That's another thing I've been thinking about, is these secrets, these innermost secrets that we don't want to share, but maybe we'll write them down and share them that way. So all these scrolls, they'll be illegible. They're tied, and so some of the words. So here are some words on here. This says, face tragedy, and that's all we know. So these, and look at how the type, so this is rice paper, and these letters were written back and forth between her. She arrived in the States, but her family members, her brothers and sisters, were still in Vietnam. So when she arrived, they were still, they were sending letters back and forth to each other. And look at how the typewriter kind of, the O was so strong, that O stamp was so strong that it poked holes through. That's so beautiful. So, yeah, I promised her I wouldn't read them, and it's just taken so much, excuse me, so much not to read. It would take me a while anyway, because my Vietnamese, I can speak very fluently, but reading takes me a while. So those, I have all of these letters that I have not permission to read. But I also have these letters that she gave me that she said I could read. So there's these stacked. Here's her hair for another project. So many projects. So another facet of this project is the stone. So I work with a lot of natural material, and what I love about stone, and I've incorporated a lot of stone in my work, is the weight of it. I mean, I can pick up a stone, and I've gathered these stones from all over the Pacific coast, just thinking about how much they've gone through being rolled up to the shore and rolled back and rolling over each other, chipping away and smoothing them. We are stone, we're made of the same stuff, and we've gone through similar things, but the beauty in its history, and also the weight of it, like just picking up a stone and just feeling the weight of it. There's a beauty in the weight of it that I really appreciate. So I've been thinking about weight, stone as weight and as burden, and thinking about compassion in that way. So I feel like the word compassion sometimes can be thrown around very lightheartedly, but for me, I know that there's different definitions of compassion in the way that we experience compassion or have received compassion. compassion is a very heavy thing for me. It's this willingness to feel the pain of someone else. And that's compassion might be one of the deepest forms of love, because we can feel this for someone we've never met, someone who has no idea that we exist, for a people, for a group that's going through something, for an individual. So I really want to incorporate this. So my plan for the show, so the inaugural show, will be at the San Diego Art Institute, and they're allowing me to poke holes in their walls. Thank you. And so my idea is to create these little pockets in the walls where people can write their letters, scroll them up, and bury them into the wall and cover it with stone. So along with their writings, they can bury their burdens. So that's the idea behind it. And another way that it connects with a lot of the work I do about my Vietnamese history and heritage is that there's a Vietnamese belief that if the dead are not given a proper burial, their souls can't rest. So I was just thinking about like fear and worry and just the tragedy that we go through as human beings, and thinking about these fears. What if we could bury them so that our souls could rest? Not that they would disappear, but that we could share in this moment all of our fears, documented by our own hands, shared with others in a very quiet way, put into the wall, covering it with stone, and bearing our burdens together. So, I'm so grateful for art and the way that it helps just make sense of all of this, of this life, and encourages others to take part in it. Art's almost like, it's like this way of making these very difficult stories and feelings, presenting them in a way that's maybe a little easier to feel or to look at, like softening it in a way where people could take part in it without feeling as vulnerable, even though they are, and just being vulnerable together. I've learned so much with doing the community work and the social practice work. The importance of togetherness in doing this. So thank you for listening and for your time. I know that there's a lot that's been kind of included in this project, so I'm really grateful for this video so I could further explain my ideas and behind the concept. Thank you for your time and your consideration. I'm very excited about this project, and I hope that it can bring the community together and experience art in different ways, and touch on subjects that might be more difficult, but at the same time, in doing so, it can promote healing as well, and that's what I really hope that my work does, because I know what it's done for me, and I just want to share it with others in that same light. So thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and thank you for your support in